Mackay MSP. Now Derek is very much a Renfrew boy. He grew up attending both his primary and secondary schools there. He joined the SNP at 16 and was involved with Young Scots for Independence. It's been a long battle, has it not, Derek? Where he served as national convener from 1998 through to 2002 and was also involved in the SNP's student organisation. He was first elected as a councillor for Renfrewshire Council at the age of 21 back in 1999, making him at the time the youngest male councillor in Scotland. Then he became the SNP group leader in Renfrewshire until 2007, when he became a leader of Renfrewshire Council. In 2011 he was elected as a constituency MSP for Renfrewshire North and West, when he was quickly placed onto the Finance Committee, also being appointed as the SNP's business convener. Following the Scottish Parliament election in 2016, Derek was promoted to the Scottish Cabinet, where he serves as Cabinet Secretary for Finance and the Constitution. So fresh as he is from his recent Holyrood battle to see his 2019 budget through, I'm sure Derek will view this as a less stressful gig, but who knows, we do have some tough questions later on for you. So can I ask you all to give him a hearty Glasgow Business Club welcome.
Thanks very much, Steve. I welcome the invitation to come and speak with you this afternoon. Although I do have a deal in place to make sure that the budget goes through, which is what I require being a minority government, the deal of course is with the Greens, so it's quite appropriate that I balance things out by coming to Ibrox this week. Sorry, that's about as funny as it gets, by the way, for me as a politician here. In the week of the budget, Thursday is stage 3 of the budget, when the budget essentially becomes law and is passed. £42.5 billion budget are the finances that I ultimately am in control of as a Finance and Economy Secretary for the Scottish Government. You missed one very interesting part of my CV, which is I also used to be Transport Minister, which makes me just a wee bit more popular now that I'm in charge of tax rather than transport, because yes, I am the guy that broke the Forth Road Bridge, but then fixed it again, and I'm advised that it was the ability to show resilience under pressure that led the First Minister Nicola Sturgeon to believe that I was fit to be in the Cabinet. I'm not here to talk about myself though, every politician's favourite subject. I do want to touch on our business support, the economy, the issues that we're facing. Recognising right now that this is the most turbulent time of politics I've ever known, as you've heard from the introduction, that I've been around in politics for a bit. The grey hair gives it away as well. I joined a political party at the age of 16. I actually got involved in community politics at the age of 12 and 13. Gary, you'll remember a campaign in Renfrew that was to stop a toxic waste incinerator being built right in the middle of Renfrew. And so I joined the No campaign at the time, so quite interesting how politics moves on, but it was actually understanding what's really important to your community that led me into politics. But now I'm absolutely focused, unashamedly so, on business support, on economic development, on growth, on business, because through that growth I think we can deliver greater equality for our society. The SNP and the government's particularly well known for many of our social policies, but not necessarily our economic policies. Maybe it's because we haven't spoken about them enough, maybe it's because they aren't getting the attention that they deserve, or other things get in the way. I just want to say a bit about what we're trying to achieve in terms of business support. But I appreciate the work that the Glasgow Business Club does. I would say you are indeed the most formidable business gathering anywhere in the west of Scotland, apart from the Renfrewshire Chamber of Commerce, that I would have to say was the last business event I spoke to in the west of Scotland. But clearly bringing business people together is a good thing, particularly small and medium-sized enterprises. We engage with national businesses and the national business representative organisations all the time, but it's really important to engage with business direct. So in this period of turbulence and uncertainty, which is unfolding even this morning with resignations from the opposition in Westminster, just showing the political uncertainty that it is, if business has told me anything, that above all else it does like certainty. knowing what to plan for. There will always be unknown factors, but having certainty going forward. But we are focused on sustainable economic growth. The budget is about stimulus, sustaining our public services, but also that stability that I think is required. So the budget that I'm asking Parliament to approve is focused on the economy, yes, on education too, because we're going for high quality, not necessarily just a race to the bottom in terms of taxation, and an understanding of environmental impacts as well. So focus on infrastructure. That the west of Scotland has been a beneficiary of, whether that's over £800 million Edinburgh to Glasgow improvement projects. So that's the electrification of our railways, the new trains that are on their way, coming slower than we would have liked, but the infrastructure will be far better, and as my granny would have said, it'll be great when it's finished, son. But we are investing hundreds of millions of pounds to improve both the reliability and the capacity of our rail network, because we know that the importance of connectivity in the city in the west of Scotland, and actually investing in that connectivity is so important, particularly around rail infrastructure as well. Glasgow Central, Glasgow Queen Street reaches capacity very soon, and that's why we need to invest in its enhancements. But also in terms of roads, the M8, the M73, the M74 and the M80 investments as well. And I was a signatory to the Glasgow City Region city deal, which will invest £500 million in infrastructure for the city in the west of Scotland as well. We've also got to invest in the future, not just what we've got. We want Scotland again to be seen as a land of entrepreneurs and enlightenment, and that's why we're investing in innovation. So the work that the universities are doing, working hand in hand with business, is really important. Whether it's the National Manufacturing Institute for Scotland or the innovation centres, allowing businesses and academia to work together so that we're investing in the technologies of the future. We can't just be the consumers, because if we are, we'll have a shrinking economy, but investing in the growth opportunities for the future and more around exports as well. Even in the estate, the fabric of the buildings, you'll see, if you lift up your head to the architecture and the universities or the City of Glasgow College, hundreds of millions of pounds investment. And now all three universities in Glasgow are investing, not just in their estate, but their expansion plans and their international presence as well. We sometimes don't appreciate it, but as it stands right now, our economic indicators are good. Unemployment is at record low levels at 3.6%. GDP has had 7 consecutive quarters of growth. Foreign direct investment is second only to London in the southeast of England. And there are huge growth potential coming, for example, from Barclays Bank deciding to invest around 2,500 jobs in the city, showing that Glasgow is the place to be and it can be attractive to international operators as well. And that's why in the Economic Action Plan that I've launched, we want to focus on a range of actions to support business. Look, government doesn't create wealth. You do, business does, but government creates the conditions for that economic success, and that's what I want to support. So it will be leveraging in more support around innovation and business development for all sides of business as well. Sometimes it felt as if Scottish Enterprise was only interested in the biggest of announcement, the biggest of companies. But I want to recalibrate that to make sure that we're focused on small and medium-sized enterprise as well. And that goes for public sector contracts too. As I stand here now, I'm working on completing the legislation for the Scottish National Investment Bank, so we can build a national bank that can invest in infrastructure and use a lot of the financial tools that maybe we've been denied in the past to try and support business and that long-term patient capital, i.e. government doesn't always get a quick return on investment, but it's the right thing to do for the economy or for business support. In terms of taxation specifically, you'll be well aware of the tax debates that are ongoing. In terms of income tax though, actually the proposals I'm putting forward will mean that 99% of taxpayers will pay less tax in financial year 2019-20 than they do this year in current incomes. Or that 55% of taxpayers will pay less tax by living in Scotland than they would south of the border. But what I wanted to raise with you was specifically my pro-business and pro-development business tax measures, such as the Growth Accelerator. If you have a new build property in Scotland right now, you don't pay any business rates until first occupation. That's really important because speculative development had dried up in Scotland, many other parts of the UK too, and I made it so that if you build new property, you won't pay any business taxation until you've got a tenant, so that encouraged speculative development. And even at that, the poundage, so the tax rate for property in Scotland will be lower than England. So for 90% of business properties, you pay less tax by being in Scotland than you would in England.
Now, these are not always the messages I would readily agree that you hear coming from the media or how we promote Scotland, but I think we do need to promote some of the advantages that we have in our own regime. That says there's a range of enhancements and improvements I want to make to the business rate system as well, such as more frequent revaluations, because for far too long the valuations have been very outdated. So I think we need a quicker cycle of business revaluation, and also an appeal system that works as well, where there's genuine approaches with a genuine case. But I need to say the word that's probably in all of your minds right now, which is Brexit. That knowing the economic impact that is going to befall on the whole of the UK and Scotland, maybe even disproportionately, is that Brexit threat. And we're looking at right now how as a government we try and mitigate the impact of Brexit, but I have to tell you, if I can be bold and blunt, it is like an economic tidal wave coming our way if it's a no-deal Brexit. And unfortunately, it feels as if a no-deal Brexit, whilst not inevitable, is more likely than it was some weeks ago, because clearly the Prime Minister and the UK government aren't in control of the parliamentary arithmetic. Again, an example of why I wanted to make sure that I got the deal in Scottish budget through, because all of Scotland could do without that kind of calamity in Scotland, in terms of investment and certainty. But for the UK, if there's no deal, then we're in a really difficult position indeed. There is no scenario in which the UK comes off better off. The question is how much economic damage there will be. Why is that? Because trade's impacted. Scotland relies on a growing population. To have economic growth, our population will shrink. If we tell immigrants they're not welcome, and they should be. Land is Scotland, and we know how we've benefited from that diversity. So there'll be unfortunately an impact on GDP growth, unemployment, trade, movement, transport would all be affected. So we've been trying to compromise with the UK government to get them in a better position to save the UK, if you like, and not just Scotland, which might surprise you. That we said that Scotland's vote should be recognised because Scotland didn't vote to leave. But if we have to leave the European Union, is there a compromise that could work for everyone? Now, it remains to be seen if the Prime Minister can get a deal by the 29th of March, but it seems somewhat unlikely that she can't command the support of her own party, never mind the rest of Parliament. One thing that does concern me though, and it's appropriate to raise it here, big business and the big financial institutions have protected themselves well. They've prepared for this. I'm not sure that many small and medium-sized enterprises are as fully prepared as they can be, because there'll be a supply and a demand impact. There are government websites that can help prepare for Brexit. Scottish Enterprise can provide assistance as well. But as I say, if there is such an impact on the Scottish economy, there is certainly so much any government can do. But we continue to try and assist the UK government in that regard to try and find the necessary compromise. So we are interested in the conditions for success, and I look forward to the questions that we'll turn to shortly. Donna, I was particularly taken with what you said though about modern apprenticeships, and we were just discussing education at our table. And some people think that all business ever talked to me about is tax. It's actually not. It's actually skills and infrastructure and people and investment. It's not just how much tax we're going to pay. I think it is really important to recognise that the way we can give business and industry what they want is make sure the education system can deliver it. And university won't be right for everyone. It's actually about what opportunities are created. And this is what I want to connect. So the reason I'm so pro-business, pro-development, coming from the background as I do in Renfrew, is this. I believe that if we can grow our economy and help make businesses successful in creating opportunities for everyone, and in so doing you create that more equal society, then we all benefit from that. I believe in creating jobs. That's my number one priority. Create jobs, because that's the best social policy there is. Give someone a reason to get out of their bed in the morning, feel fulfilled, purposeful employment, and that then makes us a better society. See, if you don't, look what we have inherited in industrialised west of Scotland. Generations of decline and intergenerational poverty. So the best way to take ourselves out of that is through that prosperity, economic growth and opportunity as well, giving everyone a decent shot in life. And that's what inspires me to do the job. Now, the First Minister said to me, because she used to be the Infrastructure Secretary, and I'm looking forward to seeing how you sign this, by the way. The First Minister said to me, and she gave me the job as Economy Secretary as well as Transport. She said, my motto, Derek, on a Monday morning was hard hat and high heels, following my footsteps. Well, I have tried to keep myself out of personal controversy. In most ways, I have tried to follow the the demands of the government. But in that respect, I'm delighted to be here to share some of my ideas with you, and I think, Steve, we've now got about 20 minutes or so for questions. But thank you very much for listening. Thank you.